Hello, friends, and welcome back to another Needlessly Nostalgic. I am one of your hosts, Tyler Nichols, with my other host, Mr. Lance Velchek. Lance, we are officially in our summer soiree. Did we announce this properly?
I don't know. You showed me a good picture I saw once, but I don't know if I've ever seen it since. Is that picture even out?
Yes, it'll have released by the time that this came out. But the issue is that it's been so long. We recorded stuff. We recorded the Elm Street series like pretty quickly in succession so that we could have a slight break. And now I'm like, I don't remember what we said during the ranking episode because it was weeks ago. So it's like, I think we announced the summer soiree and the films that we'd be covering, but I guess this is our announcement if we didn't. Welcome to our summer soiree 2025.
Which was named by a gentleman named Andrew Hatfield, actually.
Yes, and we are fortunate enough to have Mr. Andrew Hatfield join us for our inaugural summer soiree where we are covering Captain Ron. Andrew, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. I feel like I'm contractually obligated to join for any Kurt Russell discussions at this point after Escape from New York, Big Trouble, and The Thing from the Carpenter extravaganza. So I'm pumped. I hadn't seen this movie in a while, but I'm ready.
I like how you say that. Like you're the one that chooses the one that you pick. You just are drawn to these Kurt Russell films.
I'll be honest. I think once I heard Captain Ron, I didn't hear anything else you asked for the choices that I had to come on. So it was a done deal as soon as that was an option.
That's okay. And oddly enough, I don't think Lance and I realized it until afterwards, but it's like I don't think we would have accepted guests for the other two episodes. So Captain Ron was the perfect one to have a guest for. So I think we're gonna have a lot of fun with this because I don't know. I have unique memories with Captain Ron, and nothing more unique than watching this shortly after having a friendship form with Mr. Lance Velchek and realizing, oh my God, I think that Captain Ron formed many, many personality traits for Mr. Velchek over there. So I
agree.
Yeah, I agree to an absurd extent where we're going to touch on it as we go through the film, but there were a couple times where I'm like, this might be a goal of Lance's. But let's do this. Captain Ron, released in 1992, directed by Tom Eberhardt, written by John Dwyer and Tom Eberhardt. Starring Kurt Russell, Martin Short, Mary Kay Place, Benjamin Salisbury, Meadow Sisto, and Tom McGowan. No, Paul Anka. We'll give Paul Anka some love. I thought that there'd be someone else. I could have sworn that there was someone that I recognized more so. But all right. So what's everyone's memories with Captain Ron? Because obviously, I guess we should say too. Like we picked stuff that. It's kind of all like, what, ocean themed, beach themed?
We mostly cover like genre films. I think this might be outside of maybe Starman, but even that has a little bit of genre aspect. This is the first time we're leaving our safety net. I think we're really venturing out into the deep end of the pool with these picks. Well, at least the first two.
Oh my God, I didn't even realize that. I guess us recording this has now determined Captain Ron is clearly first.
It has to be. It should always be. You start with, because it's a nice little, it's smooth, you know?
It is. It's a good transition too, because it's like, it's got weird, it's like, it's lighthearted, but it's got some darker elements. So I think it's a good transition film from what we are usually talking about, because obviously we just went from the Elm Street series into this. So let's hear what our guests' memories are from some Captain Ron.
Who wants to know?
Captain Ron.
Well, it came out in, 92, right? I did not see it in theaters, which is probably for the best, which I'm sure we'll get into some of the sketchier, non-kid-friendly scenes in this movie. Granted, my parents, or at least my dad, really didn't care what I watched. I watched all of the Evil Deads, and I had the older brothers that showed me everything. But I had already been a huge fan of Kurt Russell, having seen Big Trouble in Little China and designated it as my favorite film of all time, which of course now jumps between The Thing and Escape from New York too. But this was a staple on UPN 13 or WGN Channel 8 in Southern California. which is funny because WGN is totally a Chicago station, but for whatever reason, we had it on Channel 8 in Southern California. And it's one of those movies that like, oh yeah, it's Kurt Russell, and he has an eye patch like Snake Plissken, and it's a comedy, and of course, anything that was, it was the TV cut, so slight alterations and things, but it was something I watched, and like rewatching this, I remembered certain scenes that stood out, but it was just always something that it was on. I remember this being on just as much as like A League of Their Own, or any number of other just TV movies that existed seemingly in the 90s on multiple channels on any given day.
This, it's funny enough, was not on TV a bunch when I was a kid, though. I did see it a couple times, so it must be WGN, of course. I saw this very young, so I probably saw it in 93 in VHS, because it usually took about a year for a movie to come out in VHS back when we were kids. So it had to be an early memory, dude. Early. And it's something that's been with me, but I didn't revisit for a long time. In fact, I think, Tyler, a couple of years ago, I reached out to you and it's like, hey, you know what I watched for the first time? Like 20 years was Captain Ron. And dude, things came just flooding back. Like memories I didn't remember and things. It's just like, I got a fucking vision quest with this movie.
Not only is he a man, it's like, so you can practically smell him through the screen. he's that level of man. No, I completely agree with what you guys are saying of like, this is just a movie that it's like you just saw growing up. It was just around, even if it wasn't on, like for me, it wasn't on a ton, but when it was like an experience. I was the kind of person that, this is why I get so annoyed with like the youth and this whole like getting anything bored. Like, I'm bored. What? You have access to Netflix and this and that. It's like, what do you mean? You have so many things you can watch. I remember watching, I'd literally look at the TV guide and trying to figure out stuff. Then that like trying or just being on the TV guide channel and waiting for it to like come up on the channel that you want to see. And times where you're like fucking getting distracted, looking away, and like, oh shit, you missed out on the channels that you wanted to see, and so then you had to wait for it to come back all the way around. It's like you had to earn it. And Captain Ron was like you had to earn it kind of film. I had to seek that thing out. And I feel like Lance and I touched on it in a past episode where for some reason, as much as like, and this is true for any of the three of the summer soiree films, they're all so big, like so important to us. However, for some reason, I owned Waterworld and Weekend at Bernie's. They were on heavy rotation. For some reason, Captain Ron was a rental, always a rental. I probably rented it like a dozen times, but it was just always a rental. Andrew, was that the case for you as well?
I don't even think we rented it. I think it was literally just on TV enough. The VHS that we had that were like burned, that probably the VHS tapes probably wouldn't work as well anymore, were Big Trouble in Little China, Clue, Aladdin. And I'll be honest, and I know I'm going to be in the minority here, but I'm very comfortable with my Kurt Russell rankings. This is on the lower end of his comedic output for me. I will take Used Cars as number 1, Overboard as number 2, and then it's either this or Best of Times. And even Best of Times isn't a full comedy. And it's just, and it's funny because I saw this first, but for me, like Used Cars kind of, it changed his image from a Disney kid even more than Escape from New York did or Elvis did, in my opinion, because it was a raunchy comedy by Zemeckis. And I think it was Zemeckis and the guys who did Airplane, the Zucker guys. And then Overboard is like, a different kind of classic comedy. It just hits more for me than this one. And then Best of Times is like that weird hybrid sports comedy with Robin Williams as well. I still like this quite a bit, but I didn't enjoy it nearly as much this go around as I used to as a kid. Like I couldn't turn away as a kid. And this one I was like, okay, this is a fun movie.
And thank you for joining us, Mr. Andrew Hatfield. That's all for today.
Hey, you know what? I was told that you guys sometimes prefer when there's dissenting opinion because it can't be we can't be a love fest constantly on every film, right?
No, there's nothing I would hate more if you had a sour experience and then you just like are placating us the whole time, being like, yeah, it was great. I love, that moment. Woohoo.
Okay, that being said, I do want to say something. I want to jump in just for a second. Used cars doesn't count because that is an R-rated. That's offensive. It's swearing. I'm going to fight you in that. Now, if you want to compare this to Overboard, I think that's more of a fair fight. And I disagree with you. That's all I'm going to say. Like, there's no fucking way. And I like Overboard. And it introduced me to Goldie Hawn as a kid. But, come on.
I don't remember Overboard enough. I never liked Goldie Hawn.
Not a fan of Bird on a Wire, huh?
Whoa, the look that I just got. It's not expecting that for not liking Goldie Hawn.
She's just, maybe Lance agrees, maybe he doesn't. She's just Goldie Hawn in everything.
Yes, I think that's why I don't like her.
I don't think that's a bad thing. I will. The shout out to Bird on a Wire is a very good shout out, which shockingly or not was originally supposed to be Kurt Russell, but he and Mel were friends for a long time, even before they did. What was the movie Tequila Sunrise that they're in together?
Raj Julia, yes.
Yeah, as the bad guy. And so Kurt Russell went on to make something else. And so Mel, he handpicked Mel. Anyway, I don't love Goldie Hawn. She's, it's one of those random things. Like, she won an Oscar in her first ever role, and then she was Goldie Hawn for the rest of her career. But no, I don't know. You're not wrong, Lance. Like, comparing an R-rated horror movie, it'd be like comparing Wedding Crashers to The Sandlot. They're technically both comedies, but they're not close to each other. And to be fair, I said Best of Times is more of like a sports drama feel-good story as well, with comedic moments. But no, I'll stand my ground. I've seen Overboard relatively recently because Severin put out they do all the Italian horror movies, and they put a nice Blu-ray out of Overboard. So I've watched that more recently before this viewing of Captain Ron, and I'll stand with that. I prefer Overboard.
I haven't watched it long enough.
I should say this, that I like Overboard. I was raised on Overboard. It's one of those movies, but I mean, whatever. We'll talk. Let's get in the movie, and then I'll go to Andrew. I'll bob and weave.
Yeah,
it's fine.
But did you guys notice how much? Because there's that fucking opening shot of the film, and it's just Chicago, and it stays on that shot for so long because it's waiting for the music drop. Like, it's so uncomfortably long where the whole time I'm just like, oh my God, why is it still here? And then once they cut on the music drop, where it's like, oh, they were waiting for the music drop. I don't know. I noticed that kind of stuff now a lot more as an editor.
No, it was one of those things that made me realize that I always caught this movie on TV, not from the very beginning, because I had no memory of this. But it felt almost John Hughesian the way it opened, but not quite as well done as a John Hughes film. Not just because it's Chicago, but just showing the city without the main characters. And then you follow the bike career, which is a nothing character, but that just felt like something a John Hughes movie would do. Like, it felt like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles opening almost, where Kevin Bacon and Steve Martin are fighting for the cab, and it keeps cutting back and forth. But the music wasn't quite as good. The music gets much better later. I'm sure Lance was vibing the entire time during most of the soundtrack to this movie. But I did notice that it was weird because it's like the guy forgot to cue the music right away.
I don't know. Part of me was like, maybe that's why I've always kind of liked this, is that there's that vibe. It's not too safe. And I'll be honest, the cover, I fucking hate. I hate the cover of this movie because it makes it seem like, oh, it's all jolly. There's pirates, there's underage drinking, there's a titty. I
disagree with you so much on the poster, because the poster is so iconic. It's just that mental image.
It's too happy.
It's too happy. I mean, I would agree, because I mean, if there's any complaint I have about this movie is that it shifts tone drastically and doesn't really recover for most of the movie.
No, yeah, I was going to say you're right, but I want to say that, that is the beauty of some of these 90s and 80s movies, where it's tone is more just what's the vibe of the scene.
Yes.
And I know I kind of missed that, because I think there's a clunkiness to this that is probably more close to real life. I'm in a good mood now. Shit happens, I'm in a bad mood. And I was more surprising to see it as I've gotten older. It's not as Captain Ron's just a wacky guy. It's and he also goes and fucks in the ocean too,
I mean, I'm looking at this poster right now. Obviously it's not Photoshop, but it's the same concept, and it's pretty brutal. Martin Short, the expression on his face is oof, oof. Like, it's just like, he's like gritted teeth and like, it hardly even looks like Martin Short. But I think that just adds to the charm. Because I think when I think of Captain Ron, I think of like this light baby blue and this weird off-color orange.
Well,
Florida colors.
It makes sense. I mean, the movie's called friggin' Captain Ron, so Kurt Russell's, and it's Kurt Russell, so he's going to be the focal point of it. And then you show the dad later. I don't know what I missed. I didn't think it was that jarring of a tonal shift. It felt like a Touchstone movie, like, where it's a little too risque for Disney proper. So it had a little bit of that. And even at the end felt very Disney. And I mean, skipping ahead, obviously, but him faking the leg injury so the dad can be the savior. And then like, that felt very Disney to me. I didn't either have a problem or even notice as much that there was a big tonal shift.
I think more just compared to like movies now, like kids movies now, like there's no place to put this movie. I put this in the same league, though not quite the same. It's like The Labyrinth. The Labyrinth is a kids movie, but it can't be a kids movie anymore because it's too dark. But it can't be an adult movie, but it can't be a PG-13 movie. I feel Captain Ron is like in that weird thing because it's PG-13, but to me it's a kids movie. But it's not dark enough for PG-13, but it's not light enough to be a kids. It's in that weird area. Because
it's for 90s kids. It's the kids that there's a certain level of, there's some parents that would be mad about their kids seeing this because there's underage drinking, there's nudity.
Yeah, a lot of shootouts.
There's pirates.
And they got their one fuck when he says we're gonna fucking die. And I, again, seeing it on TV, yeah. I never remembered that at all. So it's PG-13. Like, look at, and this is the first and only time that anyone's gonna compare Captain Ron to Titanic. But you got titties, you got one F word, and you got some maybe intense stuff like the pirate shootout at the end. So that's your typical PG-13 movie.
And I have to ask too, because Mary Kay Place, for me, she's always been like she's like a mean mom. That's what I remember her from in various, I feel like she was on Shameless. She's just always been on different things. She was on Californication, Bored to Death. Like there's the roles that I know her from. It's not sex pot. It's like mom or neighbor. So it was weird to see her as like the mom here and kind of like the hot mom.
Well, 3 people in this movie are very horny the entire film. The mom, the daughter, and Kurt Russell are very horny for the entirety of the runtime.
Let's not forget, the entire movie happens because the daughter gets engaged to some douchebag. Like, they were not going to go on the sailboat. It's like, oh, nope, that's not going to happen. And then it was like, oh, we need to get her out of here and away from this guy. Like, that's crazy motivation you wouldn't see that nowadays.
I got major Bug vibes from Uncle Buck. The guy which again lends to, we have John Hughes at home for the writing of this movie. Although I will say, like, I didn't recognize the director and writers right away, but this director also did one of my childhood films growing up, and that's Without a Clue, which is one of my all-time favorite Sherlock Holmes movies. Have you guys seen Without a Clue?
No, but I was so confident you're going to say Night of the Comet.
That's what I thought too. Same.
Okay, to piss off I don't like Night of the Comet, like, whatsoever. I can't get into that movie at all. I know it's a popular 80s fun, in theory fun. But no, Without a Clue is Michael Caine as Sherlock Holmes and Ben Kingsley is Dr. Watson. But Sherlock Holmes is an idiot, and all of the cases are solved by Watson. And he finally is fed up with it and like announces to the news that it's all him, and they split up. And it's really, really good. It's got Jeffrey Jones pre-scandal. It's got Paul Freeman from Raiders of the Lost Ark as Moriarty. Paul Freeman's the Belloc. It's a really, really, really fun movie, and still one of my favorite Sherlock Holmes movies.
Check that out.
I've never seen or heard of that movie, but you just named a bunch of actors that I love. And based on the time of this movie, I bet it actually is fun and not, like I said, that middle ground. Like, good for kids, probably a little more mature than it should be, and.
It's PG with some incredible over-the-head, like, sex jokes that kids won't get. That's my homework assignment for you guys. I expect it to be available for viewing soon, Tyler, for us.
You did say Michael Caine, right?
It's Michael Caine as Sherlock Holmes. Yeah. In 1988. So it's like peak post Hannah and her sisters Oscar winning Michael Caine, or I guess also pre Cider House Rules, but it's a full on comedy. It is a great movie.
Yeah, we're talking about the mom, and the whole inciting incident is the daughter getting married, right? But the only reason they don't have like a legit captain is because Martin Short rats himself out and calls and says, the boat might be in the best condition. It's like, so really, if he just shut his mouth and didn't do that, the whole movie wouldn't happen. You know, they would have just sailed properly to the island, get the boat, come back to Chicago, sold it, and like the movie would have been done.
They would have had a totally competent guy. It's the theme throughout is as much as Martin Short is like paranoid and wants things to go safe, and it's like he's the impetus for so much of their misfortune throughout.
Because you think it's going to be Captain Ron's buffoonery. It's kind of a play on it because Captain Ron's the goofy guy and Short's a straight man, so he should be dealing with all the bullshit that Captain Ron does. And outside of being just like not a straight man in terms of Martin Short's like a businessman in the downtown Chicago, like he's pretty competent. Yeah, he gets lost all the time, but he still knows what he's doing. Martin Short is so confident that he knows what he's doing that he keeps messing things up. And I like that play because it's like he's actually the problem, like you said.
What are your guys' thoughts on this boat? Because if I could sail in this boat, I mean, I would need an actual captain to do it, but it'd be my dream.
It looked, and I mean this in the best possible way, it looked like a Disney animatronic boat, like from how it moved, and then especially when they went downstairs and like the kitchen table is like tilting in a very specific way. The whole, it's a whole vibe. The entire interior and exterior of the boat it's Captain Ron. Like, I know that wasn't his boat, but the boat, it might as well be Captain Ron as well. It's super, it doesn't look professional. It might not get you there the right way, but it's going to get its job done, just like Captain Ron. So I was a big fan of the boat.
It has so much personality. What my first thought is in the 90s, we'd take a hot girl and put glasses on her and be like, look at this plain Jane. This, to me, it's like they just made it a little dusty, but everything about the structure of it, the style, I'm like, this is a gorgeous boat. Just wash it, and it's fine. Everything about it, like it just has that old wood feel. And like you said, it looks like something out of, something you'd see in the Disney park if you went through like a pirate world. I'm not necessarily the Caribbean, but this is something that they put in the bay.
Yeah, I'm literally, I have it paused right now on a shot of it, and you're right. They 100% just painted stuff to make it look bad, and then one of their big secrets to make it look drab was to have the sails like loosely down so they look like they're hanging. They're not like well kept, so then it just makes the whole boat look rattier. But like, yeah, you look
just random palms.
Yeah, you look at all the details though, where it's like, oh yeah, everything is still in like perfect condition, looks super nice, and it's like, yeah, it's all just paint.
Dude, I mean, I know that obviously the downstairs of the boat is a set, but still, I would live in this. I think I have a small dream. I just am too attached to things that I would love to just like be that person that sails to a port and like works from the boat.
And what do you guys think of the car? The car, because I watched this like 3 different times because I kept trying to figure out where they do like the guy because it has to be a guy that leaves the car at some point when it's behind him, and it is 1:16. Let me get the exact, because I had to go back slightly. 1:16:21, and I'm fairly certain that you can see the the guy that's under the car pushing. He's pushing it, and then they obviously just then have to do a cutaway. So I don't know. I'm pretty sure he must then hide behind some barrels that they have set up. But it's the funniest things. It's like I never realized where they how I just always assume it's like, oh, they probably had some remote system set up, but it's like, no, they 100% just had some guy that then just hid.
Yeah, the whole scene is a perfect example. The fact that he would have heard the splash, but he's just in his own world and doesn't notice it until they're all about to leave. It's good, not world building, but good character building for Ron. And then I hate to admit that I didn't notice until the IMDb trivia, but every vehicle he drives is missing the headlight where his eyeball is also missing, which is obviously intentional and very well done.
We got to give the director credit, though, guys, because the car going in the water is the exact same time Ron gets on the boat. So that was like beautifully timed, because I rewound it when it happened, and I looked at Russell and I'm like, he's gonna fucking flinch, isn't he? He's gonna flinch. You have to flinch because it's a fucking giant cargo, and he doesn't. So it's like they timed it well. It's this great little wide, and Russell, in his mind as an actor, had to be like, don't react to the splash.
And one, that's not the kind of shot you're doing multiple times. That's a likely one and done. I would assume one and done. If not, yeah, maybe two. So it's like, yeah, you have to think of that ahead of time of like, oh shit, yeah, there's going to be the noise. What can I then do? It's like, yeah, they had to have that time perfectly, and they time it perfectly.
Yeah, that's blowing up the house at the end of a horror movie type moment. You don't get that twice.
I was just gonna say, Lance, why aren't you more into necklaces? But then I just realized you have a necklace on.
No, it's just my headphones.
Oh, it's just headphones.
I don't wear necklaces. Because I tried when I was younger. I tried. I thought I could pull it off. It's just, I don't know, the shape of my face, my body. It just doesn't. I don't know. I never feel like I look good in one.
I don't know. You have headphones on in the Discord right now. It looks like a necklace. It looks like you pull it off. Get you a Captain Ron necklace. What do you guys feel about Martin Short in this? Because I'm not. I don't know. I don't really like him on it. Because for a long time it made me think that I didn't like Martin Short, but then it made me realize like, no, I just don't like his character in this.
Yeah, it's just it's not written for Martin Short. Like you're not using Martin Short's best qualities in this role. Like I think the best scene with him is the gorilla scene, or gorilla versus gorilla, when he's yelling at Ron and then he walks away and goes off his own. That was as close as you get to Martin Short, like typical Martin Short anyway. And granted, like I know Martin Short like has his weird characters like Father of the Bride and some other movies, but just as being the typical 90s dad character, the John Hurd substitute, I don't know. We talked a little bit offline earlier about like who was originally maybe considered to be cast for the role, and those names might have done a little bit better or maybe been more suited to it.
Yeah, it was written for Chevy Chase in mind, and Billy Crystal, Steve Martin, John Ritter, John Candy, and Richard Dreyfuss were all considered.
I think Chevy Chase, just the character is much more of an asshole. I think you like Ron even more at that point if it's Chevy Chase.
If it's Chevy Chase, we're not doing this right now. This isn't part of the summer soiree.
I'll defend Martin Short. He plays a great straight man, especially because it was against type. This whole thing was kind of a joke, right? That we're taking the funny guy and playing him straight. I think this is kind of character that normally I would hate in any movie and be okay with it. I could still love the movie and hate Martin Short because I usually never like the straight man. And that way he does get a little on my nerves because he's going against, obviously, the great Kurt Russell's Captain Ron. I don't know. For some reason, I'm not as bothered by it, but I was actually looking just to see. I think Martin Short's just one of those guys that, like, I grew up around. So, like, I have this loyalty, like Father the Bride, Three Amigos, Clifford, stuff like that, where I'm like, I'll be honest, Captain Ron, I might just like him as a person, and I don't know if I can actually judge him in this movie.
Do you think it's true that the movie screenwriter, like one of the movie screenwriters, John Dwyer, has said that they were originally cast in opposite roles? Like Martin Short was originally Captain Ron, and Kurt Russell was originally going to be fucking uptight guy, and they got drunk and switched the roles, which I don't know why the screenwriter would lie about that. And also based on the time, like Russell was playing more of the straight man, and Martin Short was the wacky zany one, so it lines up.
Yeah, we're again to your point. If it's Chevy Chase, I don't think we're talking about this movie if the roles are reversed. The movie doesn't work as well. I have no doubts that Kurt Russell can have a drink with anyone and get drunk with anyone and just have good conversation because he is that guy. But I don't know why you would write this character for Martin Short. With respect to Martin Short, yeah, I don't think he can pull off Captain Ron whatsoever.
Sorry, but my thing is it doesn't make sense. Because as written, Captain Ron's he's a goofball, but he's suave. Martin Short can't be that. Was it like the original movie, and then they got drunk, they switched and rewrote a different movie? That's the only way this could work, because Captain Ron is confident.
And I guess lending to it being true, it would be Kurt Russell, like the Captain Ron wardrobe was his, like, so that says to me that last minute change of like, what do you mean you're switching roles? We already have wardrobe for Martin Short. Or then it's like, nah, come on, babe, I got this. we're gonna do doing this. I got my whole wardrobe. I know I'm trying.
I love it. I mean, maybe, but then again, then how's Captain Ron getting that hot chick when he goes off course? Is the joke then that he has her? Is that the joke? As opposed to the joke being like Martin Short thinks, or originally thinks he's the one being waved at. Then the joke isn't that Russell's being waved at, but that Captain Ron, played by Martin Short, actually has the girl. Like that. Then it changes the dichotomy of the comedy too.
Yeah, which I feel like that was also a big thing in the 90s. Was like, this guy, this nerdy guy, of course he's gonna get the girl. So how we got Kevin James with Leah Remini and King of Queens and shit like that.
Yeah, or the other guys, Will Ferrell being married to Eva Mendes. Like they could have done it that way. I still don't think it works. Like he would have had to play it like you guys have seen Clifford, right? With that's the Martin Short, that kind of zaniness would have had to have been not like a weird foreign accent like in the Father of the Bride movies, not is it Ned in Three Amigos? I always get their names confused, but not the Three Amigos character. It would have had to have been something a little bit more manic and weird, like the Clifford version.
Clifford, good old Clifford.
Speaking of a totally dark movie, Clifford is one of those that I've loved growing up, but I also find it to be more of a drama that's funny than a comedy.
I mean, even Dennis the Menace has like a random like dark tonal shift. I feel like the 90s is just like a weird time for those kinds of films. They were willing to randomly have a very adult moment.
See, those are the best times. That's why we've lost.
I mean, there's no darkness in Minecraft.
No, best example from recently, for my money, is House of the Clock on Its Walls, the Eli Roth, Jack Black movie. That one got dark at points. So, I really enjoy that movie.
Yeah, it's like the movie that convinced Hollywood that Eli Roth could be a director for hire.
And
then he did Borderlands. And now he's doing super indie movies. But I mean, I think that was always his path, though. Like that horror section, as soon as they even announced that's what they were doing, I was like, dude, that's what you should have been doing all along. Mm-hmm. Making cheap horror movies for a profit. Like, yeah, do what works. You don't need to be making $100 million movies.
Be the competition to Blumhouse. Like, what about do Blumhouse, but do it better, or go back to when they used to have a little bit of reverence to their name, which is funny because I know now they're looked down upon, but for a while they were doing tight little horror movies, made a profit. They weren't bad.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say right now, I can't wait for Jimmy and Stiggs. Comes out in August. It's the new Joe Begas movie, and I have seen the trailer in theaters 4 different times now, where I'm like, ooh, they must really be pushing this.
Joe Begas does like Bad Taste, right?
Old Peter Jackson. Yep.
What I love about Russell is how realistic he looks in terms of his shape. Like, he obviously did some dieting, maybe a little exercise, but I feel like this is the exact role that if this movie was made today, he would have to be far more ripped. Like for a guy that's like kind of sleeping around and obviously like couch surfing and probably drinking, his body to me makes the most sense. Like it's not out of shape. It's not super buff. And all I could think is now you'd have to have abs. You'd have to be on like the juice.
He has that like beer belly protrusion. It's not like he has a beer belly, but he has that like that because he's clearly drinking. It's like he's got a man's body.
That's what I'm saying.
And he's red too. From like skin is red. Whether that's from the sun or alcohol. You be the judge.
And he has the perfect like 5 o'clock shadow.
No, they would cast The Rock in a remake at this point if they were going to do that movie this go around, just to make him the overly because Captain Ron isn't and don't get me wrong, Kurt Russell is, but Captain Ron isn't that sexy, but his attitude is. He is confident, but they would overcompensate now, and Hollywood would cast someone who is that objective, overly buff, hot Hollywood actor, and it wouldn't be the same. I
worried they'd Homer Simpson him. I worry it's like they'd cast like a Glenn Powell, but then he'd be like a walking buffoon, where then it's like, no, you guys are missing the point of what makes Captain Ron. Yeah, gotta have the right balance of because it's like Captain Ron, I don't know, he's not stupid, he's ignorant.
He's a buffoon, but it's because his lifestyle is carefree. You know what I'm saying? Like he knows what he's doing, but he doesn't really necessarily need to be is on top of things because he's living the Caribbean lifestyle. And you're right about Glenn Powell. I guess I'll meet you in the middle and say this. They would do that, but here's my problem with Glenn Powell is that put a fucking jacket on him, but he still is buff. What they'd have him do is they'd probably have him in loose shirts, pretend he's Ophi, or they'd play it that way. And then there'd be a scene where he's like taking off his shirt and the fucking wife would like have this great like profile shot of him. It'd be all fucking hot and everybody'd be like, ooh. It's like, that's the shit they would do. They wouldn't even go full fucking Homer Simpson. They would do it until he has like a shirtless moment. And then we're like, oh, he is hot. We're like I said, this little beer belly he has, it's like, that's realistic because he's manly and confident. So he's attractive because he has that look, but they're not ever really playing on it. He's just very confident. And I think that's that balance that works in the 90s and they don't do much now.
I love that shot. He's in this like super loose wife beater. And he's like at the stern of the ship. I don't know. He's steering the ship, and he has like he has like the sunscreen on his nose. It's even on his lips, and he has like a bug that's like fucking with him. He's just like see his eyes, and he's just like following it. It's like the kind of moment that like it shows Kurt Russell's comedic brilliance. It is 37 minutes, 36 seconds for those that are curious. It is like, it's just such a fun little thing that then like, that's why I love Kurt Russell in this. That's why I love this in general. I said that I don't like Martin Short in this. Does not matter. You put Chevy Chase in the same role. Like, yeah, I would then just be ignoring that role more so. It's like, but Kurt Russell's still Kurt Russell, and he still makes for an incredible Captain Ron here.
And it gives Captain Ron a lot of moments to bounce off of, which I think is super important. For instance, when he gets mad and throws the guns in the water, he goes, "Oh, okay, boss, yeah, no. We'll just give him the guns back, and that'll be that." It's just such a positive, like, I have it solved, we're okay. Like, and that's a moment that I love. That's like Martin Short does something like stupid, and Captain Ron's like, "Oh, no, I have a fix for it." It's like, yeah, but you don't know all of what was done. It's like that sort of charm.
You're not giving anyone a lift, especially a bunch of armed revolutionaries.
Whatever you say, boss. I'll just give them the guns back and the whole thing will be off.
Obviously, the little moments that you're saying, like him in the sunscreen, which is like realistic too, which is, I know it's stupid, but like I went on a sailboat in the Bay of Islands, New Zealand. I remember the captain had a giant hat. He had a thick white sunscreen on his nose, not the lips though, and he had gloves. So it's just one of those things that he looked goofy, but I'm like, oh, you're in the sun. So I see this, I'm like, he like those chest is exposed, so it doesn't do much, but it's funny because it's like he's almost there. Like the comedic moment is not only how he acts, but thinking, like, okay, he's protecting his nose and his lips, but his face and his chest and his arms, and he has that really loose shirt where it's like, that's the buffoonery where he's like, he's close. He's just not out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and you're not wrong. Like, he's not stupid. The way he says things might come across as stupid, but he warns Martin Short that there's gorillas, and he doesn't feel the need to explain what type of gorillas. They are gorilla fighters.
He's street smart, not book smart.
And then even like, and as a kid, I did think that he was the completely stupid buffoon character. But even like Martin Short's trying to read the map and like explain to Kitty where they're going, and Ron's just like, "Sure, boss. Yeah, that's right." And then he like has to switch it around, like, "No, this is completely wrong." Or even like how stupid he sounds, being like, "We had exactly the right amount of fuel to get where we need to go, and we're out of fuel, so we got to be there." And then sure enough, he's right there as well. So he is right. He's right about the pirates. He's right about everything. He just sounds like an idiot, but he's definitely not. And that is also a credit to Kurt Russell, how he plays the role.
When we left, we had just enough fuel to
making the San Juan. And we are out of fuel.
I love too. He doesn't admit to taking them off course so that he can go fuck that girl. He doesn't admit to it. He's just like, the tides. You know, sometimes the tides just bring me this way. You know, between us, it's like he's like, between me, you and me, the tides have brought me this way before. It's like,
It's the tides, man. They can either work for you or they can work against you.
Hold on, I want to ask you something, because like this rewatch, I was like, oh, was that him basically winking at, like, basically having like a dude moment with Martin Short, be like, they brought me, I thought that was him admitting to Martin Short, like, you understand, right? Right, bro? Like, he broed him out, and I was like, what? I never caught that. I always thought it was an actual accident, but then he's like, they brought me this way before. It's like, oh, he wanted to get laid.
yep. So great. And then there's obviously the, like, it's even better because Martin Short thinks that she's looking at him, or it's that, why you really think she's looking at you? It's like, what? Babe,
He calls her right?
Hey, like, babe. Yeah.
Babe, who you waving at?
So fucking good. Because it's like, yeah, of course, poor Martin Short. It's like, yeah, why would anyone be interested in this dummy that I've been dealing with on the ocean for I guess a week at this point?
Is there no
It's just amazing.
greater feeling, though? I mean, just think of Captain Ron at that moment. Think of, like, that moment existing in your life. Like, he pulls up, there's this beautiful woman in the water, they know each other, that's what he's there for. And he just dives off the boat and swims over. And they go off. They're not going off to hang out, they're not going off to catch up. They're not, I mean, we know what's going on. It's just like, Captain Ron is living the life. Like, I know we're kind of joking and making fun of him a little, and he is, you know, like I said, he's goofy. But, I mean, what is he doing exactly? He's just living life.
I'm much more of a homebody, so this much social interaction gives me a bit of anxiety, but it is the kind of thing where I'm just like, yeah, Kurt Russell and Captain Ron, it's goals. This is exactly what you would want to. This is what your goal would be for. I mean, not even retirement life, just life in general. You would know that you've won if you're able to experience this. Like, because he's able to, like, it's such a, like, when they stop off in San Juan, that seems like a blast. Like, it seems like everything about it. They're meeting up with people. He seems to have such a unique understanding of things, where then he doesn't take things too seriously, where then he's actually able to enjoy it, where, I don't know, everything I wish I could get to his level of don't give a fuck.
Well, yeah.
And he always knows a little something where he goes. He doesn't know everything, but he knows something, and I like that. I think that's very cool to me. It's like, oh, like, obviously he knew about the plain tacos where they got, you know, when he stopped off there. It's like, that means, like, just the little bubbles of knowledge. I don't know. That's the thing I'm jealous about the most. It's like, hey, he traveled enough. He's like, this is this. We go over here. We do this. I'm like, oh, dude.
Well, that's another thing I wanted to ask you guys was, so do you think, because them going to get the plain tacos, because Martin Short was upset because he's like, he took us the wrong direction, but like Captain Ron, it seems like he very clearly, like, like, they're on his plan. Like, Captain Ron has a course. He just hasn't informed them, like, what it is. Because it's like, it seems like it's like because he understands, like, no, this shit that they want to do, like, no, that would take probably too much time to go this way, that way. It's like, we're doing this instead. So it's like, I didn't realize until this viewing of, like, and maybe it's the wrong interpretation, but I viewed it as he's definitely just influencing the trip, and he wanted to go get tacos, burgers, whatever that airplane place was selling, and that's why they went off course for that.
Yeah, it lends credence back to when he clearly is like, no, Martin Short doesn't know what he's talking about on, like, the road to go. I'm going to get you where you need to go. I'm just going to take you the more fun route there. But yeah, like, he clearly living his best life, even with gambling debt and running afoul of pirates aside, he is still 10 times happier than an upper middle class family with 2 high paying jobs, but they have their debt, they have the kids to worry about. He's just out there doing his thing.
Yeah. Just enjoying life.
I agree. I never thought about it. And actually, it's burgers, it looks like. I kept saying tacos, but I was just guessing. I never thought about it until you said it, but you're right, though. Your interpretation can't be wrong because he's proven to be a liar. He's proven to know where things are. To me, it seems like obviously he lost the car. The guy was shooting at him, so he doesn't really have much to go back to. And by the end of the movie, you know, he has like a different look. So clearly he's kind of like just every time he's doing something, he's trying to kind of figure shit out. So I bet he's doing it because once it's over, he has no place to go. So he's going to detour as much as he can because once the job's over, he has to figure out his next move, where he's going to stay, where he's going to live. So yeah, I think he's being coy, which in turn lets Martin Short stand up and be the man that he always should have been. So it's like good for Captain Ron.
Yeah, good Captain Ron. He's able to find the man in us all.
Exactly.
I mean, that the son gets a crash course in being an adult. He gets promoted from swab to, was it mate at the end? And he has his first beer. He gets the tattoo. He learns how to gamble in Monopoly. Like, yeah, he
gets charged for the beer.
Uh-huh.
It's like, there's so many little lessons. It's like, yep. Even when you think Captain Ron's doing you a solid, it's like, no. Captain Ron doesn't do something for free.
No,
there's always there's a bartering system at play for everything.
The best part of that scene, what I was going to say is, you think he's going to scold him for like, no, kids don't have beer. He's like, no, you want beer, you get it yourself. You get your own beer. This is my beer.
And that's the joke. And then after the joke is told, and it's already funny, it's already won, then you find out that he has to pay for the beer. So it's like, that's a joke on top of the joke that was already settled. We're like, oh, we're good. You know, that's clever. That's clever. And he's so smooth about it.
In the same like scene, the daughter leaves. She has to bribe the son and brother. And then she also has to bribe Captain Ron. Because Ron's like, yeah, he needs a cut too. He's like, hey, I can rat you out just as easily as he can.
He's an opportunist.
I think she says something like, oh, this is an expensive night.
It's a man that's a man that knows how to survive. That's a survivor. Because he's not scamming anybody. He's not pulling any bullshit. But he's not going to let things go that don't need to go. And I don't know. There's a balance here that I think I really respect, because the kid, it's like, hey, he cost him like a nickel or something, a quarter, right, or $1, something real small. But it wasn't the kid's money anyway, it was hers. But regardless, like him charging her says to me, like, yeah, like Martin Short's an asshole. Captain Ron would get blamed for sure. Why didn't you tell me? So pay the man, because he knows that, like, he knows your dad. So it's like I think it's a fair sort of opportunist.
Yeah, he knows his value, and he knows the value of everything. Nothing in life is free. There is always something that there's either a paid service, or like him buying them lunch to secretly get laid, or to, you know, make up for the fact that he took them the wrong place, trading the guns because he knows he's going to need that ahead of time for the pirates to give them a ride. Like, he understands there is value in everything, even like knowledge. Like, hey, you know, on a boat, you don't say no, you do your job. And if you do it well, you get promoted. Like, again, idiot, but a really he's not book smart. He's street smart. He completely understands how to do it. And then at the end, I wouldn't call him heroic, but he definitely, after he gets fired, he comes back. And it's funny because there's really no reason for him to come back, but it shows you that, like, he really doesn't care. Like, he's not mad at Martin Short for firing him. He's not upset that, like, Martin Short treats him like shit the entire movie. Like, he's like, no, this is a good family. I gotta go help him out. And so he comes in and Kurt Russell's the hell out of that scene by driving backwards and spinning around and doing all that stuff.
Was able to find a car in Cuba. Impressive.
Because he's street smart. You said it, you know. We got a little car chase. You know, stuff like that. I miss it. Like, this is a family movie about like a wacky boat ride. It has gorillas, pirates, car chases. A man tries to murder Captain Ron within like the first 5 minutes of the movie. You know, there's a lot of stuff that I just miss, man. The blatant guns, yeah. Having the kids clean the guns, you know?
Yeah, that is amazing. One, like, I love they have the immediate payoff of, oh, Captain Ron's not on the boat with them. They immediately get taken over by pirates and lose the ship.
Yeah, because...
Like, see?
Street smarts.
You needed Captain Ron. Yep, street smarts. It will pay. I'll take street smarts on a boat over book smarts any day.
Only where you're going to live. Street smarts on a boat.
Street smarts on a boat. Can't have ocean smarts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I will say the only thing I that stood out in addition, not in a great way, in addition to that opening scene where it's like nothing and then the music comes in, I didn't care for the random narration from Martin Short, especially at the end. Like, you get to see Captain Ron say goodbye to everyone. We didn't need...
Yeah, it feels like a studio note.
Yes, and I thought that was dumb. Like, and then once they say goodbye to him, we get to see him again. Like, he disappears from the boat and then comes back. Like, I didn't care for that stuff. And even like his, ship's log, when he's talking about like, oh, day one was great, and then by the third day he's like, I want to murder this man. That stuff was okay, but also unnecessary, because you can see how much he hates Captain Ron. He tells his wife constantly how much he hates Captain Ron. So that stuff didn't... It does feel very studio, like, oh, we need to explain this stuff to the audience, and completely unnecessary.
I agree. I don't like narration in general, and this movie seemed to drop it for like a good chunk of it anyway. So what's the point?
Yeah. I mean, that's just random. I mean, the whole Cuba side tangent. Obviously, it's a big part of the film, but it very much feels like that 90s tonal shift where you're like, ooh, what movie am I in right now? This is crazy. I don't know what this is.
An action movie with a lot of guns.
Yeah, a lot of guns, which is fine. Like, it's not, I don't know, like, it's not, it's just a weird, it switches from super fun comedy to, oh my God, we're in Cuba.
As movies should. Yeah. I want all of mine to be dark, and then fun, and then dark, and then is the family going to die? We don't ask that question anymore. Now it's like, no, the family will live. They'll just be like, will they be horror? It's like, no, this movie's... There's many times where people have automatic weapons.
I mean, Kurt Russell has a Rasta hat in this, and he actually rocks it.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm convinced that Kurt Russell can pull off any style of headwear, clothing. It doesn't matter. It's Kurt Russell.
He has a face that just fits. I want his glasses. I don't know if I could pull them off, but I like them with the gold line at the top.
My brother.
I think you could pull off the eye patch.
I don't know. I'm bald.
My brother Daniel was one of those people that could pull off any hat. Like, we'd walk into a store and he could be a baseball hat, it could be a cowboy hat, it could be a newsboy hat. My brother Daniel could pull off literally any hat ever. It didn't matter. And I was, I can rock a baseball hat, and that's about it.
Yeah, I can rock some hats. There's just a lot. I don't like a lot of hats. So, like, I don't know, a fedora. There's too many connotations to it. Give me a Freddy fedora. All about it. What do you guys think about the weird, like the implication with the ending of like, wait, so you guys are just going to go be on endless vacation?
I'll make it quick. I think it's fun, but I've always kind of been confused because it makes me wonder, like, is Captain Ron the character? Is this a persona? Because he's kind of himself, but even the way he dressed was just different. And I know it's maybe him morphing to what the client needs, but that made me wonder, then what about this character that I love so much is actually Captain? Because Ron Rico is a rum. We know that. That's not his name.
Yeah.
So essentially, we don't know who this guy is. The whole thing's a fucking lie. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I want him. The guy at the end seems fun, but that's not my Ron.
No, that guy is trying to fuck that woman. That's what's going on with that.
See, he sounds like Ron, and he even pulls the anchor away, and he blames the guy, which is something Captain Ron would do. There's got to be some deleted scene where like Martin Short gives him a chunk of the money or whatever from the estate, and so that's just Captain Ron with some money but still doing the thing he loves. That's what I thought. It gets really dark if like Captain Ron is a sociopath serial killer who just changes his appearance every 3 months for different clients. So I choose to believe that there was stuff changed or cut out. Like, they probably shot something where he inherits money, or the pirates or the military give him money or something, and then he buys a suit but still does the thing he loved because he's made for the sea. Navy was the only thing he was ever good at, and not navigating, right? He always says, I didn't navigate. I drove the boat, boss. And now he just has some money. There's got to be something in there, but of course there's no lost version of Captain Ron or director's cut of Captain Ron. It's just something the studio cut and burned, I'm sure.
Well, and I could be wrong about this because I don't know much in terms of boat terms, but I had this note and I had forgotten about it. Captain Rano keeps saying, check the mainsail, check the mainsail. And I didn't, I'm like, what is he talking about? Check the mainsail, check the mainsail, check the mainsail, check the mainsail.
All right, set the mainsail.
He says it multiple times. And then he even has, it's either the daughter or the son, it might have been the wife. So like they repeat it back to him of like, oh, the mainsail.
Stand by, set the mainsail.
Or it's like, so he's teaching them his like redneck terms for like sailing. I don't know. It's that's the, it's like now I want all of the different because I'm sure he did it. That's the only one that I recognize. But I'm sure he said something instead of, I think he might actually said something weird for starboard.
Well, that could be because it's starboard, right?
Starboard and then what's the other one? Starboard but yeah. So I'm curious as to how many boat things then Ron says wrong in the film because obviously I don't know enough boat terms. But I caught that one this viewing and was immediately like, oh my god, mainsail, the mainsail. Yeah, I assume so. Well, I think we've pretty much covered it. Andrew, what would you rate Captain Ron?
Oh, I know I was not harder on it, but made my feelings known about where it ranks. But I'd still give it a 3. Like it's a fun movie. It's a good time. It is very much a summer vibe for the the mini extravaganza name I came up, the soiree that I helped you guys name, but. Yeah, like I don't want to say I was disappointed, but that's the only thing I can think of. Like watching it, because I remember younger it being like a 4, right? By our scale, like a 4 out of 4, and I just didn't find it as quite as perfect or amusing this time. But you know, God forbid I give Kurt Russell anything lower than a 3 in any movie. So I'd say it's a solid 3. It's definitely worth watching. It's definitely fun to show. I might wait a little bit older, like Sam can see it, but I might wait a little bit till the younger kids are a little bit older to show it to them. So it's a solid 3.
This is a make sure you have like sauna levels of heat when it's on. You want to just like feel like the pulsing of the hot sun when you're watching Captain Ron. So that's all I ask when you show those kids that it's hot as hell.
Middle of July.
That and I'll make them a virgin tiki drink. We'll all have rum. They can have fake rum drinks, and I'll have a real rum drink to celebrate
I
it.
would love it.
Well, no surprise to anybody. I'm going to give this a 4. I texted Tyler a couple years ago when I rewatched this for the first time in a long time, and I was like, I think Captain Ron might have been like an early influence, just because like for the longest time I loved tropics. I love how he dressed. I love the feeling this movie gives me. It gives me a very specific feeling that only a couple movies do, which is just relaxation. And then I realized that, it's some movie about people that, live in the Midwest, that hate the cold, or don't hate it at least, but they're living miserably. And then they decide that the tropical life is actually what makes you happy. So the message makes sense to me. 4 stars.
Yeah, I mean, Chicago going to the tropics, it makes all the world of sense. And I've always liked Captain Ron, and it's always been an important film to me. And I wish they would release this on fucking Blu-ray.
Yes.
Well, now we're at the point where it's like we need a 4K. But I mean, I think Disney gave publication rights for their physical media to Sony, so we might be seeing more stuff get produced. I guess we'll have to see if that happens. But yeah, I would give it 3.5 stars for this viewing. I'm not quite as down on this as Mr. Party Pooper Hatfield over here, but I agree in that, mostly in that I watched this last summer and had so much fun with it, and so this time I don't know. I think it's more the state of the world. One thing that kept popping up in my head was, you can never do this. You can never do this nowadays. Sail from all these places and like with no hassle. I mean, they get jumped by pirates, but no hassle in quotes. It's like, you couldn't do this. It's like, it's not even realistic anymore. So that little things kind of annoyed me, but it's such a stupid thing that then I know it's not going to be a problem the next time I watch it. But I need a physical media release for this. That's what'll get it. That's what'll earn it. It needs to earn a 4-star. 4-star. That's for physical media. So 3.5 until I get a physical media release.
It feels like a Kino Lorber release, even though Sony has the rights.
Yes.
Like, so I don't know if Sony has even their Touchstone stuff. Also, fuck off. 3's a great score. Like, that's still a good movie for a score.
Yeah, for a Kurt Russell Caribbean movie, buddy. Come on. Kurt Russell in the Caribbean, 3.5 minimum. And his name is Ron Rico. That's a rum reference. I mean, that's 3 and a 3.25, 3/4. I don't know. Either way, that just Andrew gets a 3.5 is what I think he meant to say.
I'm bullied into a 3.5 over here. Okay, fine. Fuck it. 3.5.
Bullied.
Done. 3.5. Fuck it.
There we go, guys.
All right. Well, I think I think that we got to continue this similar vibe, and next week do a weekend at Bernie's, because I feel like that's more of an appropriate transition rather than going to Waterworld and then back to weekend at Bernie's.
Weekend at Bernie's would be perfect.
Yeah, so next week you guys can listen to Weekend at Bernie's. Very, very excited for that. And you guys can make sure to like us on, we have Instagram, Spotify. We're on Amazon Music, Apple Music, all that. And yeah, we also have a Patreon where we have 2 bonus episodes a month. And yeah, also check out our YouTube, which is starting to get a lot of traction. So yeah, you can see episodes and shorts on there. Thank you guys so much for listening. We will see you in the next one. Goodbye.